Hi there, I'm Cathi from Software Solutions, and this is the second of a collection of videos about creating websites and using web parts in Microsoft SharePoint Online. What we did in the earlier video is we actually created a communication website, and we've got a single page in front of us, and this is the home page. Now it's important to understand the structure. Now first of all, your website is made up of web pages, and at the moment this just has one web page, which is the home page. Now if I hit the edit button here on the right hand side, you'll see that a web page is then broken up into sections. Here I can see that there's a little plus, which means that this is a section, and as I scroll down, here's another little plus, which implies this is another section, and this here, if I rest here, is another section, and this here is another section. So one web page could have one section, or one web page could have multiple sections. Now within a section you have web parts. Okay, so a web part can be something like this, which is an image, another image, another image. So these are web parts inside of a section, which is inside of a web page. Also, your sections can be in columns, 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns, but we're going to look at all of that. Now to get out of here, I'm just going to discard changes and I'm back to my home page and just go OK, because I really didn't make any changes. Now for starters, I don't want to modify the home page. I want to create a brand new page and start from scratch. Whenever you want to create a new page, I think the easiest way is just to go to new and go to page here. Now here you have the option just of a blank page, or you can choose a visual template or a basic text template. And even if I click on it, you get a little bit of a heads up as to what each one looks like. Now for this first page, a blank template. Now here also is another interesting option. I often tick this because I want to create it as a private draft. I'm not ready to share it with anybody yet. So if I create it as a private draft, then nobody will see this page except me until I publish it. So I'm going to choose create as a private draft and then create page. And so here's my blank page. I now want to give it a title. So let's, where it says here, add a title, let's just type coffee impressions. So there's my title. Now if I wanted to save this page, I would simply save it as a draft, which means I'm finished editing it and I'm out of edit mode. It does say here that it is a private draft and when it was last saved. If I want to make now more changes to this particular page, I go into this edit button, not to be confused with this edit button. So when editing a page, it's always in front of the publish button. We don't want to publish it yet because we want to keep it private. So we just go edit, and whenever we've got changes we want to save, we save it as a draft. And I'm going to go back into edit again. So that's going in and out. Now that I've created my new page and I've also given it a title, I think the best place to go next are the page details before we get too busy with the finer points. If we go to page details, it brings up this pane here, and it's here that I can actually add a description. And so I've given it a description. I can also change the thumbnail here to my logo, which now it shows me all my recent images because I recently uploaded them. As I have a look, I can see a variety of pictures here, but not the picture that I'm after. So in that case, I'll go to Site, and I'll go to Documents, and I'll go to Logos, because I know I stuck my logo in my Logos folder, and select. So everything's nice and organized and easy to choose. I do want to use the editor to check spelling and grammar, so I'm going to leave that on. Here's the page name, Coffee Impressions, so that's grab the title and use that to name this page. It's an active server page. I can always copy the address and put it into an email, or wherever I want to create a link to this page, I can take a copy of the addresses, the page's address. It does show me who currently has access, which is only me because I've made it a private draft. And this is also where you can delete a page, but it tells me also the date and time it was modified, so I can see how current it is. So I'm just going to hit the X, and that's my page details done. Now when I look at this page, in terms of sections, I can see there's a section here. Comments is in this bottom area, which isn't really a section. This is a section for sure, and this is really what we call the title area, so this is not really a section. So there's one section on this particular page. Now, as far as managing sections, if I hit this plus here, I can add a new section. So this is when I get to choose what type of section I'd like it to be. Just one column, or broken into 2 columns, or even 3 columns, or maybe just 2 columns, but the one on the left is very narrow compared to the one on the right, and vice versa. So you've got different types of sections. Let's just go for 3 columns, for example. And so I've created a new section here above this section, and this section is broken into 3 columns. Now, when it comes to managing sections, the sorts of choices you've got are appearing when you click in a section. So if I click here, I see these buttons. If I click here, I see these buttons. The sorts of things you can do, for example, is you can move a section. So I literally drag this move button and I pop it until I see a solid white line, and I drop it there. So now this 3 column section is below the 1 column section. If I drag it again up, and until I get a solid white line, I've now moved this 3 column section above this 1 section. So that button is used to move a section. This button here is used to duplicate a section. So now I've duplicated, I've got 2 sections that are both 3 columns, and I could actually literally drag this one down and put it underneath. So I've got 1 section that's 3 columns, 1 section that's 1 column, and 1 section that's 3 columns. If I want to delete a section, I'll just hit this delete trash can button, and that section is literally deleted. With that section deleted, I might click in this section here and also decide that I want to delete this section. So I'll delete it. And if I go into here, I might then decide with this particular section, maybe I want to edit it, and that's what this option is here, edit section. This brings up the edit pane where I can change my mind and say, actually, instead of 1 column, can I have 2 columns, 3 columns, 1/3 left, 1/3 right, or back to 1 column. So you can change the layout if you go into the edit section button. You can also give this section a different complementary color than the other sections based on the theme that you chose earlier. And you can also make this section collapsible. If I turn this on, you'll notice there's now a chevron, which means that you can collapse and expand this section. I can turn it off and I can turn it on. Now, if you do make a section collapsible, you can then add a divider which segments and puts a little divider line here, which makes it really easy for people to read your page because you've organized it visually. You can have the collapse expand icon on the right over here or on the left over here. I think people are used to seeing it on the left. And by default, we want it to display expanded. But I could say by default, I want it to display collapsed. But I'm going to turn the collapsible option off. And so all those extra options appear when you say you want to make this section collapsible. And we'll be using that quite a bit off and on. But when it comes to this section, I'm actually going to delete it. And maybe now I have a page with no sections. If I then hit this option to add a section, maybe I don't want to choose any of these layouts. Maybe I want to go to templates. And so there's a variety of templates you can also choose from to lay out this section. And so I'm going to go for 3 column image and text. And so there's a little bit more detail to the section options when you go with a template. So I quite like the templates. So this particular section now has 3 image web parts. This is one, this is another, this is another. So you can identify the web part just by looking at this little top image. This here is a text box, and a text box. If I click on the text box, then this toolbar appears, and this allows me to move this web part to somewhere else on the page, much like we do with sections. Allows me to duplicate this web part and then delete this web part. And then after those 3 standard options, you've got things that you can do such as the font size, such as the font color, and all sorts of style options regarding text, because it's a text box. Whereas if you click on image, then you get a toolbar that also allows you to move it, edit it, duplicate it, and delete it, but then you get all these options that are to do with images. So depending on the nature of the web part, which sits inside of the section, you will get this toolbar and you'll be able to do all sorts of customizing. And I'll just close this pane on the right hand side. Right, so let's edit this page. Let's start with this top part here. This top part here is known as the title area. Now when I click on the title area, I get this particular toolbar with some options regarding the title. Now the first thing I want to do is change the image that appears at the top of the screen, and that's what this button does here, Browse Images. Now the particular image I'm looking for is the one that says I love coffee, which is here. So I choose this option and I insert it. And this here is what we call a focal point. I can lift it up, I can lift it down, and basically control the point in which the focus appears. And I want to put it just there. So you can return to that focal point by clicking that button and then just click to make it go away. So that's your focal point, and you can return to here also if you want to browse for a different image, because maybe this particular rectangular title area doesn't suit the image, which may be too square. You can also choose to overlap or have plain, which means there's no picture, or have a colour block, which is just a solid sort of colour block here, which takes up a lot of space. You've also got overlap. So you've got some different layout options here, and I'm going to stick with overlap. If I click on this button, then I can edit this particular web part. So a title area is considered a web part. What we've got up here is a re-mention of those options we looked at earlier, like colour block and overlap. I'm going to stick with overlap. You can also go for a more centered impression or more left impression. I think left is better. You can put some text above the title, and I want to do that. For example, I'm looking and thinking I want to put the phrase fascinating world of coffee. And so you see a little bit of text above the title. Show the text block above the title, no, yes, so we are, and show the publish date. So the publish date then appears underneath my name to tell me how current this page is. So I'll then close the title area pane. So this top area is known as the title area. You can do some things with this toolbar, but you can also go into edit and you can completely customize the title area. So think about your title. And I'm thinking I will change the layout. Instead of overlap, I'm going to go for image and title. It takes up a little less space. So image and title, and that's how I want my title area to look. Now let's get into the second section in this particular web part. I'm going to browse my images. And I'm going to choose an image that looks like this. And I want to insert that there. I'm going to browse the images here and choose a different image. I'm going to go for, I think, that one there. And here I'm going to browse for a different image again. All right. Now I'm going to click here to add a caption. I don't have to, but I want to add the caption coffee beans. I don't want in capitals. And here I want to put coffee plants. And here I want to put coffee bags. Oops. All right. Now here we can put some text. Now to save me a bit of typing, I'm actually going to go and open up one of the documents that I sent with this course. So I created this Word document, and so what I want to do is just take certain bits of information out of here. I'm just going to double click and take a copy, Control C, of this paragraph, and I want to put it into here. And so I'll just right click and maybe paste it as plain text, and then get rid of the little symbol at the front, which is effectively a bullet point. I'm going to dive back to Alt-Tab, back to my Word document, and the next statement I want to grab is with regards to 1690. 1690. I want to take this option here. I'm going to go back to my website, click on my text web part, right click and paste it as plain text. You can press Control Shift V instead of Control V and put the plain text in. I'll go back to my Word document, and the last statement was with regards to 1940. So I'll Control C, Alt Tab, back to my SharePoint site, and I will right click and paste it as plain text here and get rid of the little symbol in the front. So immediately I've got a section now with 3 images, each with a caption, and I've also got text below each image. To save as a draft, I'll click this option here, which will basically throw me out of edit mode. I can then look at my page, and this is how my page of coffee impressions is coming together. I want to make changes, I simply hit the edit button, throws me back into the edit mode, and I'm going to click in this section. Just here will do. Now I want this section to be a lighter blue, so I'm going to edit this section. I'm going to go for a lighter blue, and so you can see a color change there. And I also want to make this section collapsible, so I'm going to turn this on. I do want to show a divider, which allows me to sort of segment this page, and I will keep the collapse expand button on the left, and I'll give it a name. This particular name is Coffee Facts. I can now close those section properties. I can now save it as a draft. It's still private, so only I see it. And now I'm able to collapse my coffee facts and expand my coffee facts, which is really nice. I have a divider line that you can just see there. And also I've got a change in the color blue from light blue to dark blue to yellow on this particular page. Now, if the reader likes these coffee facts, then I want them to be able to jump to a particular page. So I'm going to go and create a link to that Word document, which was Coffee Milestones. I need to go to my documents because the Word document is not a web page. I need to go to my document files where I stuck all my Word documents. If I then hit the circle in front of Coffee Milestones, I've selected one item. If I then go for the 3 dots, I can get options or actions. From here, I can make a copy link. So copy link is get a link that others can use to access the selected item. So I want a copy link. It generates it. Here it is here. People will be able to view it, but they won't be able to edit it. But you can always change that as well, that they can edit the document or review the document. So I'm just saying that they can only view it. Block downloading, so they can't download it, they can only view it on the website. Apply that, and it's just people in this organization, so apply that, and then I will copy that link, close this. I'll go back to my page, not document, called Coffee Impressions, which is the page that we just created. I'll go into that page. I want to edit that page, and I'm going to add a new section under Coffee Facts. So I'll go for this plus to add a new section, and just a 1-column section, and here it is here. And now I want to add a web part to this section. So I rest until such time as this appears. And this is how you add a web part to the new section. Now the web part is a call to action. A call to action is whenever you want your page visitor to interact with the page. So let's call to action. I'm going to edit this web part. So I click this option here. Now what we've got here is the ability to put a link on this button, and this button appears dim until the link's added. So I'm going to right click here, and I'm going to paste as plain text the link that I copied, and suddenly the button lights up because it's got a link to a page. I'll give the button a label or some text, and that'll be called Coffee Milestones, because that's what the Word document is. So I'm creating a link to that Word document. I can make it centered, I can make it go to the right, or I can make it go to the left. So I'm going to keep it on the left. Actually, I might make it centered. I will then close this particular option here, or maybe give it a background image. So I'm going to change the background image. So I'll change the background image, and I'll go for a cup of joe that looks like this one, for example. So I'll select this image, and I'll go insert. I can move the focal point so that the coffee is more within view. There it is there. I can also add some text here, such as find out more interesting facts. Actually, I will put it back to the left and left align that there. I can close this call to action. I can save it as a draft. And then I can test it. If I click this button, for example, it should then open up the Word document. If I then close or go back, I should go back, then I'm taken back to the website. So now that I've created this page and I'm pretty happy with it, I need to update the home page that it comes to here. So let's choose the home option here to go back to the home page. And I want to edit the home page. So we go for the edit button again on the right hand side. Now what we have here, if I just rest here, you can see is a full width hero. This is what we call a hero if I click on it. And in fact, this has got 3 layers, 1 layer, 2 layers and 3 layers. A hero can have up to 5 layers. And a hero is a lot of information. In this case, it's sort of like layered in a cascading way. I want to edit this first layer of the hero. So I click on it, and I don't use these options because they actually customize the entire hero. I use these options just to customize that one layer of the hero. So I'm going to hit this edit bit here. Now what I can do is change the title, for example. So the title I'd like is Coffee Facts. And you can see the change automatically occur here. I can also change the link to a particular page. So I'm going to change this, that this links straight to, now if I see it in here, there it is there, Coffee Impressions, I can choose it there, or I could actually go to my site and I could go to my site pages and I could tell it that's the Coffee Impressions page that I want to link to, and I'll just select that. So I've linked to that page, I've given it the title Coffee Facts, and here you type a description which is going to appear here. So I've added a description here, click here to find out more interesting facts about the journey coffee has taken to become your everyday cup of joe. So add a description, add a title. Now further down here we've got background image. Let me just hit the chevron to expand it. So we're given this custom image by default, but if I want to change it, I can hit the change button here. Now what you've got is a recent collection of images, and we've been in here a couple of times now. But I also need you to know stock images is here. If you don't have an image and you want to find an image, just search your stock images and see what you can use from there. But I actually have a site that has a documents folder where I have all my photos in a photos folder. And the particular image I'm looking for here is this one here, and I select it. Again, I can click on it and I can choose my focal point, and so I can drag it more to the right to see more of the cup, more to the left to see more of the bag. If I lose it, I can click it again, and I just sort of want a little bit of both, really, half and half, with I love coffee in the middle. So choose your image there. Add any alternate text for those who use speech readers or devices and have visual difficulties seeing the pictures, and just say an image of a cup of coffee and a bag of beans and I love coffee in between, which describes the image that you're seeing. That's what alternative text is. Options, I do want to show a topic heading, which is this little blue thing here, but I don't want to see the word new, I want to see the word discover. And so discover appears at the top. Show to a call to action link, yes, there it is there, but I don't want to say learn about communication sites, I want to say learn about coffee. And so you see the call to action update, you see the topic above the heading there, you see the heading, title and the description automatically updating as you type, which is really handy. This then automatically, this is the link it goes to, so we need to paste. So I'm going to right click and paste it as plain text, paste that link back in. So this will go to that particular Coffee Impressions web page, and also this will go to that Coffee Impressions web page. Okay, so that is that. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to save as draft, which will throw me out of edit mode. Here's my new first layer of my 3-layer hero, completely customized. Here, discover Coffee Facts. So if I click any of these, it will go to that page, Coffee Impressions. If I then go home or I go back, it'll go back to my home page. And if I click on learn about coffee, because I put the link in there also, that will also go to, oh no, that's going to my coffee milestones. Don't want that to happen. Let's go back. Okay, so we need a link to the page Coffee Impressions. Let's go to Pages. Let's go select Coffee Impressions, Show Actions. We want a copy link, a link to that. They can use that link, copy. We then want to close that. We want to go back home. We want to edit the home page. We want to click on this layer. We want to edit that layer and scroll down to the options. It's the call to action that needs to be updated. Paste it in there. Close that. Save it as a draft and test it again. Learn about coffee. Now takes you to the Coffee Impressions page and we can go back. This here takes you to the Coffee Impressions page and we can go back. If we do go to the Coffee Impressions page and we scroll down, we can collapse Coffee Facts, and there is our call to action, and that takes us to our Word document. If they want to know more facts beyond the 3 that we copied and pasted out of here. This could be a PDF file, this could be any type of document that you want to link to. You can link to any type of document. We've just linked to a Word document. You may also sometimes see these little what we call page holders here. This is when you want to copy a link to not just this page, but this part of that page. You can click that link and it will take a copy of just that and you can paste it if you want to jump to just that part of the page. In fact, if you rest on it, you'll see at the bottom here, it says Coffee Impressions ASPX #coffee/facts. So if you want to go to the Coffee Impressions page and then the Coffee Facts section, that's what that link will take you to. So that can be handy as well.